This isn't your typical horror game. It's the most realistic simulation of the human experience, a giant social experiment unlike anything else. In my 17 years of gaming, I've never encountered a game that comes close to the experience you get when playing this one. It is the only game where your actions carry real emotional weight, where the consequences of harming other players, for example, can haunt you long after you've logged off. Time is our most precious commodity. Time is free, but priceless. You can spend it, but you cannot store it. Once you have used it, you can never get it back. This game uses your time against you. Now I have a question I want you to really think about. Would you sacrifice 10 hours of your life to spare someone else from wasting 10 hours of their life? Or would you sacrifice 10 hours of someone else's life to spare yourself from having wasted 10 hours of your life? Well, this is the question you would ask yourself while playing DayZ. Okay, wait, hear me out. DayZ is often seen as a zombie apocalypse survival game, but its true nature goes far beyond that. At its core, DayZ is a giant social experiment that immerses its players in a harsh, unforgiving environment where human behavior is tested in extreme conditions. The game's world is a blank slate, devoid of structured objectives or a linear narrative, which allows players to create their own stories. This freedom, combined with scarcity of resources, pushes people to their psychological limits. DayZ is a real-life scale of around 225 kilometers squared, or about 87 miles squared of the real-life region of Ústí nad Labem in the Czech Republic. DayZ can host up to 200 real-life players within this landscape. The game begins with you awakening on the desolate coast of Trinaris, a sprawling post-Soviet landscape ravaged by an unknown infection, aka zombies. You have nothing but the clothes on your back and a sense of desperation. No weapons, no food, no map, just the vast, ominous expanse before you. The objective? Survive. But survival in DayZ is more than just staying alive. It's about navigating the harsh reality of this unforgiving world where the real danger isn't just the infected, but the unpredictable nature of other players. With no predefined goals, the game challenges you to carve your own path in a chaotic sandbox where every decision could be your last. To succeed in DayZ, you must become a master of psychology, skilled both in manipulation and reading body language. Because of the proximity chat feature within this game, your survival often depends on the words that you use carefully to diffuse tense situations and recognizing subtle signs of a player with malicious intent. In this world, you're often not seen as a person, but just another potential source of gear. Imagine you're starving, on the brink of death, and the only chance of survival lies in another player's backpack. Would you risk sacrificing your humanity, taking their life to save yourself? Or would you hold on to your morals, even if it means dying of hunger? 95% of you might say, I'd kill the player, it's just a game after all. But let's change the scenario. You spawn in with another player who turns out to be friendly. You decide to team up and face the harsh world together. Hours go by as you fish, hunt, loot, run from hostile players, and build a makeshift camp. You survived everything so far, but both of you are now starving and you're on the verge of death. Do you betray the friend you've spent 10 hours surviving with, taking their life and eating their corpse to save your own? Or do you choose to die losing everything and respawning dozens of miles away on the coast starting from scratch? You see, the stakes aren't just about pixels and gear, they're about the choices you make and the kind of person you become from escaping death and losing hours of progress. Not to mention the isolation of DayZ. The isolation of DayZ can lull you into a false sense of security. After hours of wandering through abandoned towns and dense forests without seeing another soul, you start to relax. But that's exactly when the game strikes. One moment you're strolling through a peaceful field, listening to birds chirping, and the next, you're ambushed by gunfire. A bullet shatters your leg, sending you crashing to the ground as your heart races and your screen blurs with pain. In a split second, you've gone from calm and collected to a frantic fight for survival. You're bleeding out, struggling to bandage yourself as attackers close in. Every second counts as you scramble for cover, adrenaline surging and your hands shaking. You have to choose. Do you return fire and risk everything? Or do you have to flee and pray you make it out alive? Or do you have a more creative option? DayZ teaches you that danger is always one step away, hiding in the shadows, waiting for that moment that you let your guard down. It's this constant tension, this feeling of being hunted even when there's no one around that keeps you on edge. The fear isn't just in what you see, it's in what you don't see. And when you finally do cross paths with another player, it's almost never when you're prepared for it. The game thrives on this philosophy, where a single second of complacency can undo hours of careful planning and hard-earned progress. This relentless uncertainty is what sets DayZ apart from any other game. It's a world where every decision matters, where the line between hunter and prey is constantly shifting. The thrill and fear of each encounter are a testament to the game's power to evoke genuine emotion. It's more than just a game, it's a psychological gauntlet that forces you to confront your own instincts and morals. DayZ strips away the safety nets and comfort zones of typical gaming, immersing you in a world where trust is rare. It challenges you to reflect on who you are under pressure when every encounter could be your last. And that's the real genius of DayZ. It's not about the zombies or the post-apocalyptic setting. It's about the unpredictable human element, the social experiment that plays out in every server. It's about the stories you create, the alliances you form, and the betrayals you endure. It's about confronting the raw, unfiltered reality of what people will do when they have nothing left to lose. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the psychological layers of DayZ, please do like the video if you liked it, or dislike it if you didn't like it. And we're reaching 3,000 subscribers soon, so I would appreciate any of you who subscribed. If you liked this video, there's many more psychological videos coming out in the future.